This is a video of me riding my e-bike for the last time, or very close to the last time. I'm riding along the street that I live in. The reason I'm riding it for the last time was because I noticed it had developed a crack in the frame, which I'll show you in a video in a minute. And the reason I don't ride it anymore is because I considered it to be completely unsafe. This is the Kogan bike, which I'm just prepared to send back to Kogan. This is the third bike I've had, and this is the second one that's had severe metal fatigue on it. You'll see here where it was, well, the pack rack busted once before. I got it re-welded on. It's busted again, right? Busted there. Was welded, busted again, and that's, impractical, but no bad. The big serious thing that's happened, and the reason I've sent the bike back, is because of this. Look at this crack. Oh, my finger. That is in this main pipe coming from the seat all the way back to the rear forks, and also on the other side. Just turn the bike around. It's on the other side as well, which is even worse. I think I just turn the bike around so I can see. All right, it's the other side. It's the other side. A crack. So that crack's all the way through. I don't know where the weight's all going to go. Straight down. All right, onto that one. I don't know if that's going to support it or not, but anyway, that's what happened. So I'll put the tools back in, pull the thing, all the electrics I had on it, which were so I could charge my phone, and I'm sending it back to Kogan. As can be seen from this still shot, the bike has done about exactly 6,301 kilometres, which is a fair bit for a push bike, I suppose. But anyway, that shouldn't matter. I also mentioned this is the third bike. The first bike I had developed a number of faults, one of which was the cracked head stem, which I'll show a photo of shortly. And as a consequence, Kogan decided to give me a completely new bike. By the way, here's me riding the bike. Typically where I ride it to a place called the Men's Shed and back each day, all right, 4 days a week. Anyway, Kogan gave me I changed over the bike because it had a cracked head stem, all right, and then that bike they gave me only lasted about 2 weeks, and the motor packed in, so they said, I'll send me another one. So I sent me another one. I sent that one back, and this bike, where it's developed the crack in the frame, is probably about 2.5 years old, done 6,301 kilometres. This third bike, prior to developing the crack in the frame, also developed a crack in the steering head stem. I should point out it's the steering head stem, which means that if it was to go all the way through, you'd have no steering. And that was prior to also it developing cracks in the pack rack at the back. Or actually, the pack rack at the back fell off, as you can see in the previous video. Up to a certain point, when I stopped recording it, I'd had 61 emails that I'd gone back and forth with Kogan. And that was before I started the situation with the cracked frame. You can't directly deal or ring, Kogan. What you've got to do is do it all via email. And even then, you can't find an email on their website. You've actually got to complain about the product and then go through a number of procedures and a number of departments to get to do what you have to achieve. I did this, and as a consequence, I'm getting a total refund for the bike, even though it's the third bike and it's 5.5 years old. My rationale is that the bike is not fit for purpose, right? Also, it's completely unsafe, and I reckon they should recall the bike. The dialogue I had with Kogan basically is they're not willing to accept that, but they were willing to give me a complete refund for the bike. So obviously thinks something's wrong with the bike. After looking on the internet about problems with this Kogan bike, I found this article from Australian Consumer, Australian Consumer something. All right. It talks about not my particular model, but another particular model, a 26-inch mountain bike updated, saying, product description, product recall on 13th August 2020. An incident has occurred resulting in serious injury. A folding mountain bike with serial number such and such. Don't know why it's serial number. Any reason product is recalled. The bike frame may crack or break below the rear suspension during use. Hazard to customers. If the bicycle frame fails while the user is riding a bike, there is an increased risk of an accident, serious injury, or death of the rider. An incident has occurred resulting in serious injury. What consumers should do. So I found out all that. Based on this information I found out, I suggested to Kogan very seriously that they should recall the product. At this stage, they haven't. As of the 15th of September 2024, Kogan is still selling these bikes. There it is there, all right. And some of the details that they mention are 6-speed, 40-kilometre range, foldable steel frame with easy storage. I used to say strong steel frame, perhaps because I complained about that once before. It's no longer strong, it's just foldable. Okay, all the other things about it, this is what the bike looks like, all right. Other diagrams I got of it, all right. Okay. After discovering my bike had these faults, and I was concerned that other people might be buying the same product that has faults, considering the product is still being sold. So I looked up product recalls. So I found this article from the Choice organisation talking about product recalls and safety. And I was quite amazed that the lack of laws we have in relation to product recalls. This basically says that, let's have a look down here. You need to pay attention to product recalls. How to find if a product's been recalled, won't worry about that. The company responsibility. Australia lacks a law that would ensure all products have to be safe before they go on sale. This regulation, sometimes called general safety provision, exists in other countries and is something we're encouraging our government to adopt here. So in other words, there's no law that says the product has to be safe. The other thing I found quite amazing is that voluntary versus compulsory recalls. Typically, a recall is issued by a supplier when the supplier is made aware of a safety issue, although the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, ACCC, or other regulator may also issue a safety recall. When the recall is issued by the supplier, it's voluntary, meaning the supplier voluntarily takes action to remove the goods and from distribution and sale. However, as it also points out down here, conflict of interest. In most cases, the company supplying the defective goods is responsible for doing the recall. But could the recall be compromised by the company's possible reluctance to spread a negative message about its product? Many companies will want the least amount of publicity possible about a recall, says Heather, the person they're interviewing, who's been involved in the prevention and management of dozens of product recalls. So basically we're saying here that there isn't particularly good laws about recall. So that's why I produced this video, to say that there's a product, it's out there, it's faulty, it's not subject to a recall at the moment. It was faulty from my point of view. It could be a safety issue, but it's not up to the organisation concerned to forced to make a recall. I could probably try contacting the ACCC, but I don't know what's going to happen. And even if they do that, it's not compulsory for the company to recall the product. And more importantly, there's no incentive on the recaller. This is a video of a Ford Pinto car being rear-ended by another car, and you'll see what happens as the car bursts into flames. This is, as a result of this, there was a court case called Grimshaw versus the Ford Motor Company. You can look it up on Wikipedia. what happened is it was known that when they designed the car that the fuel tank was in the wrong position, such that if a car re-entered it, it would burst into flames, as is shown here. The Ford Motor Company knew about this, but they went ahead and produced the car anyway. And as a result of that, a number of people died. My issue is that if you're going to have a product, and like my bike, and you can see in this video with your pedaling and then you're going fast downhill, I wouldn't want that frame to crack and fall apart while I was going downhill that fast, because I might be injured or die. What I like to see happen is the laws changed in Australia, whereby if a consumer like myself reckons a product is faulty, therefore the person that's selling the product or manufacturing the product has to prove that the product isn't faulty, rather than the other way around. And what happens at the moment is something usually goes wrong, somebody gets injured or killed, and then afterwards they decide they're going to recall the product. Should be the other way around. Because I don't know what the laws are in other countries, but apparently our laws are quite slack in this part. Perhaps some politicians should look at this. Here's a video of me riding to the men's shed and also appearing on the middle there and going over the top of it. Is my bike going back to be completely, to Kogan, to be completely destroyed so that no one else can ride it, hopefully. There's the result of, by the way, I got I actually received the money back from Kogan. This is me arriving at the men's shed. So I won't be doing that on that bike anymore, but I have ordered and arrived a new bike. Hopefully it's going to be better than the old one.